How's it going, everybody? Ragiroth here. So last week we got a ton of info on Mortal Kombat 11. A lot. It was pretty overwhelming in a way, in a good way though. I was definitely really happy with what I saw. I was overjoyed to see like Scarlet come back. Cabal basically more or less confirmed. Baraka come back was cool, I guess too. Not someone I was dying for, but it was nice to see him back. They definitely improved him. Just the new fatalities and the custom variations, and the customization, all that, it was all great, and the modes and just the presentation of the game, everything looked great. You know, I think roster-wise, oh, and also Eurus looked pretty cool too, especially for someone that kind of doesn't really want any new characters. He kind of fills that Tremor niche, assuming Tremor doesn't come back. So I think, you know, kind of the only other thing is that it's the roster. Now, I think they could have shown off characters I'd be and some other people would be more hyped for. However, I think they could have also done way worse. I think Scarlet, Baraka, and Cabal were a very good start. I think Scarlet had a kind of enough shock factor as well, because she's a character that not too many people thought would be back, just because, you know, DLC characters have a tendency of not really coming back that much, but she apparently broke that trend, aside from Kenshi, who kind of came back immediately after the game was DLC anyway. So one character I kind of want to talk about, specific Rain. Now, Rain, he is one of my favorite Mortal Kombat characters. He's one of my most wanted characters in this game. He hasn't really had the best luck getting in games. First game, you actually see him in, I think it was Mortal Kombat 3. He was like a secret character, something you encountered, kind of like Reptile in the first one, or Noob and Jade in the second one, and Smoke. I think he wasn't actually playable until Mortal Kombat Trilogy. So it's funny that actually history kind of starts with him appearing and not being playable. And then like he wasn't playable until Armageddon, which was like 3 or 4 games later, and that's just because everybody was in it. And then he missed out on MK vs. DC, granted a lot of characters did. Mortal Kombat 9 he was in, however he was a DLC character. He was one of the only trilogy characters that didn't actually make it into the game. And then Mortal Kombat X was probably the worst one, because he was literally in the game, but as a story NPC. You actually fought him. He had a brand new design, but you could not play as him, and he was never made DLC because NetherRealm Studios has this rule where if a character is DLC, they can't be DLC again, which is very imperative for characters like him and Scarlet making the base roster, and Kenshi as well. So I personally think if he doesn't make it in this game, he is probably never going to be playable again. The only way I kind of see this is like, since he was kind of DLC so long ago and it's been a couple games, maybe they'll be like, okay, it's okay if we sell him as DLC again. But even him being DLC is annoying. Like, why can't he just make the base roster? So basically what I wanted to talk about is I want to talk about I guess, what he is going for him being playable and what he doesn't. Honestly, what he is going for him is actually larger than what he is going against him. However, the one thing that's going against him is kind of within the game and kind of visual, I guess, evidence, if you want to call it that. So let's talk about all the things he has going for him. First of all, I think, well, I should mention that I think a couple years ago Ed Boon did a poll on Twitter. He took 4 male characters and 4 female characters, and he asked, which of these characters do you miss the most from MK9, or that missed an MKXL, whatever. And it was Noob, Rain, Cabal, and Baraka for the males. Noob won, however Rain came in 2nd place. So that shows there's fan demand for him. I think Ed Boon also made a tweet, I forget if it was before or after this. He just literally asked, like, should Rain be playable or be in Mortal Kombat 11? And I think pretty much everyone responded that, like, yes. I might even respond too. I feel like it was kind of another thing to kind of gauge fans, because I feel like a lot of people say that Ed Boon kind of views Rain as a joke character, and that's kind of why he doesn't make it as much. That is explained by Raicho. So like, I think maybe like they don't really view Rain with that high regard, but he seems to have a big fan base, at least kind of a cult fan base. And then also we have to kind of look at the other characters that are on these polls. On the male side, we had Noob, Rain, Baraka, and Cabal. Baraka's kind of in the game already. Cabal is basically confirmed, and they did worse on this poll than Rain, for Christ's sake. I'm not hating on them. You know, this is the truth of the matter. Not to mention, but with Baraka, he was actually in the same boat as Rain and MKX, where you could fight him, you couldn't play as him, and he actually flat out died in Mortal Kombat X. The Vora killed him. Rain, nothing really bad happened to him. He was fine. So like, you know, Rain is more demanded, and story-wise, he has kind of less going against him. Now, I know we got the whole time travel thing, but even still, like, you don't even have to fix what's broken with Rain. He's not, you don't have to fix him. He's there. He's fine. Then also, if you look at the female one, we had Jade, Scarlet, Sindel, and Shiva, I think. And Jade won, and Scarlet came in second. Yes, who else is also in the game? Scarlet. And again, definitely not hitting on her, but she came in second on this poll, and she was also DLC in Mortal Kombat 9 as well. Her and Rain were in the Mortal Kombat X comic, but Rain at least made it in the game in Mortal Kombat X, even if he wasn't playable. Not to mention, no offense to Scarlet, but Rain has been in at least more games than him. He's a little bit more seniority, even though I know Scarlet has been kind of a concept or rumor for a long time, maybe longer than when Rain came around. I'm not sure on that. But the point is, like, there's 3 other characters that are in the game or pretty much confirmed for the game that have less demand or less going for them than Rain, so that kind of definitely helps him. The only thing, if I was to argue devil's advocate, is not every character that does well in these polls has made it in the game before. Let's look at Injustice 2. I think there was a poll with Starfire, Black Mana, and Constantine. It was like, I think it was like, who do you want to see most in the game? I think Starfire won. She was one of the first DLC characters. Constantine came in second. Black Mana came in third. Black Mana was actually a DLC character in the second pack. But Constantine, he did better than Black Mana, and he was nowhere to be found in the game. I know there was, I think, concepts of him that they revealed later that he was planned for the game, but something didn't happen, so I don't know, So I guess demand isn't always a guarantee. Maybe they just can think of a good moveset for Constantine. It's the only thing I could think of, or maybe, I don't know, maybe there were some other issues there. Another one is actually with the Mortal Kombat guest poll in Injustice 2. Sub-Zero won, obviously, he was in the game. And then Johnny Cage actually was the one that came in second. And Raiden got in the game. Admittedly, Johnny Cage beat him by such a small margin, and they probably just thought Raiden kind of fit in the game more, especially because I think Raiden is probably the next, I guess, staple character after Sub-Zero and Scorpion, so he kind of just seemed next in line, I guess. And I guess also they had easier ideas for premier skins like Black Lightning for Raiden. Johnny Cage, I can't really think of who would be a premier skin that's a DC character for him. And of course, the notorious example is who should be a guest in Mortal Kombat in Injustice 2, and Spawn won, and we kind of saw how that went. And Hellboy was the one that got chosen, he came in second. I don't know if I really count this one though, because this kind of requires a company, or I guess a party outside of NetherRealm. It's a guest character, not a character they made. So I think this is kind of a different scenario, but even still, it does show that just because they did good on the poll doesn't always guarantee their spot, but it definitely helps, I think. And I think Ed Boon making that, tweet asking if Rain should be in, that's a little more, I think, specific. It's not a guarantee, but the polls help. And then also, at the event, Ed Boon literally said that
refreshing and deciding which ones to come back is pretty much you guys. We really hear what you guys say.
And I don't think he ever said this with Mortal Kombat X, maybe not even Mortal Kombat 9. So if this is a fan demand roster, why would you kind of exclude one of the most requested characters for the game that wasn't in Mortal Kombat X playable? Especially when you kind of already have the resources for him. And then I think the last thing that he has going for him, I'm not 100% sure to count this because we don't definitely know if 100% fact it's him, but Rain actually appears on one of the menu options for the game under Conquer, which I think is like basically the single player modes, because I think I've seen Let's Pass Conquer, and it's like story, I think Towers of Time, arcade, and then I think some things that haven't been revealed yet, I think, or like collection or whatever. So why would you have a character that's not playable in the freaking menus of the game? I know we also have Kano and the local multiplayer one, and Kano might not definitely be playable, but that seems really weird to kind of, if you kind of have a menu option where for people to fight each other, and you have a character that you can't play as, so and I think, it literally looks like in the picture of Rain that he's gonna take on one of the towers, it's from his perspective, and he's gonna take on one of the towers or conquer or something. He's the only character in this picture because it's single player mode, so one player, one person, boom. I know, we don't know 100% fact it's him, but it looks a lot like his Mortal Kombat X design from behind. It looks kind of just like his MKX design, but just kind of revamped for this game, because most of the characters so far that were in MKX, their design is kind of a basis for, I guess, how they looked in that. Well, I guess Raiden at the end of MKX kind of just altered a bit to kind of give him something fresh for this game. The only character I would kind of argue that's maybe a bit of a bigger departure is maybe Sub-Zero, and that's more so just kind of in his helmet and maybe kind of just the look of his, I guess, vest or whatever you want to sash. And I think even Baraka, who was in MKX just not playable, I think he looks fairly similar to how he kind of looked in MKX. Scarlet is kind of the only one that looks like completely different, and that's mostly because it's like she's only been in like one game. It was 2 games ago, and like I think as awesome as she was in that, I think she was kind of a blank slate in sort of a lesser degree. And then obviously Garrus, who's new, so he's never in MKX. So like, yeah, I feel like this would be a natural evolution of his design. But yeah, it literally looks like he has something on his face, like a mask. You can kind of see the straps around the back of his head. It just kind of looks like a revamped version of his MKX design, honestly. So, and it feels weird that they would kind of make a new design for someone that's not even playable and in a main menu. Like the story mode, okay, I get, but like this is, this seems even more arbitrary. So basically, yeah, fan demand, other characters in a circumstance that got in, appearing in the main menu. I think these are 3 big things that kind of help him. Not to mention, I feel like they're gonna maybe they're probably unfortunately not gonna have like all the ninjas in the game again, unfortunately. And I feel like, if they're gonna have like 4 in the base roster, they're gonna cycle out probably Reptile and Ermac just because you gotta have Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Probably for like Noob Saibot, of course, and I guess probably either Rain or Smoke. Obviously, I love both of these. I'd probably just rather Rain make the base roster and Smoke be DLC because he'd be eligible for DLC. So I feel like for the most part, the stars are lining from the beginning of this game. So let's talk about the one big thing that kind of hurts his chances. For those that have, kind of seen like some of the Towers of Time game, I think it was Towers of Time gameplay, there's modifiers for the game that like MKX and Injustice 2 had. I think maybe even Injustice 1, but anyway. And there's these ones called like, I think classic character modifiers, where like a character will assist you off screen and like shoot one of their attacks. And there's so far one for Shinnok, Reptile, Cyrax, and then of course Rain. This made my heart immediately sink, because it seems like it's probably ones for characters that aren't playable. I know there are versions of playable characters that come in, but I think they look different than these. I think they're like different like point costs or whatever. So this is definitely worrisome, It's literally the only thing that I feel like is really hurting him. Now, I guess if I'm to argue why maybe this isn't a final nail in the coffin for Rain. Again, we got him on the menu. That's a little more going for him than the other 3 have. It doesn't help that I feel like Reptile and Shinnok probably are going to be playable. I feel like Cyrax could kind of go either way, at least before seeing this. Not to mention, this could be just like, I think Rain, I could be wrong, he was maybe a modifier in MKX as well. So they literally could have just kind of thrown this in there just to kind of have something to show off. Maybe just Rain just isn't fully ready to show off, or they didn't complete him yet. So it's just kind of a placeholder thing. It's probably not that hard of a thing to do anyway. It's literally, just this icon and then his bubble comes off screen. That's really it. Yeah, it is worrisome. I guess the only other thing I could think of is either they really hate Rain, really hate him, that they don't care how much fans want him, or maybe they just can't think of variations for him, because it's he was only playable in MK9 where there was no variations yet, and in MKX he just had his Mortal Kombat 9 moveset copy and pasted on him. But then again, this game, you basically just make your own variation on the moves they give you, so I don't really think he needs 3. 3. I think they're gonna have 3 preset ones, but I don't think they're as kind of, defined as MKX is. Not to mention in MKX there was a few characters that had maybe 1 move difference between their variations, so I don't even think that really makes much sense. So thinking out loud, I think he does have a little more going for him now. I really just think this modifier thing is just the only thing that kind of hurts him. I want to say it's just kind of a placeholder thing, or maybe these characters, maybe, I don't know, maybe just because the modifier doesn't mean the character's playable. Maybe there'll be some that are playable characters, some that aren't. I kind of do think the look of his icon does look kind of weird, because above the mask you don't see anything else. It kind of almost looks like his MK9 design, where he kind of has I guess the head strap, or the black head strap covering his head, but I think it's just because of the way it's styled. I could see how it is more the Mortal Kombat X design with kind of the shoulders, or maybe some people have said the art in the menus isn't complete, so they have Rain there, but it's not final. But even then, I feel like the roster is decided between the UI art. So that seems really weird to kind of have a character that was scrapped again, the UI art for and it's the game. Yeah, okay, the game is not the game's not right around the corner, but at the same time it's also just 3 months away. So I would think that would be done by now. Tweaking the gameplay and stuff, okay, but I don't know about that. I think that's a little iffy. I know, because people say, oh, it kind of looks like concept art, but that could just be the style they were going for with the UI for this game. I personally think it looks really awesome. Another thing to mention with the modifier thing is that knowing how Ed Boon and NetherRealm Studios is, they may put him in the menu and, you know, to kind of give hope for Rain, but also the modifier thing to maybe kind of not make it seem like a sure thing, especially with someone like Rain who's requested but also not like the most, doesn't have the best attendance in the games. I wouldn't be surprised if they just did this kind of get people talking. But then again, maybe that's also just me thinking too hard into this and just wishful thinking. I'm not sure. It could be anything with Ed Boon, honestly. And I guess another thing I should also mention, I don't know if this helps or hurts, but I think someone who's reliable that I saw posted on, I think GameFAQs, that was at the event, he asked someone when I guess he was playing the game, like, hey, is that Rain in the menu? And the person just said no comment. So like, I feel like if it wasn't Rain, like the person would just be like, no, it's not. But I don't know. I don't know how this works. Like I said, he has more going for him than going against him. I just kind of think what he has going against him is something kind of big. So I guess it's like a bunch of like smaller good things and then kind of one like big bad thing. But then again, even the menu thing I would argue is a bigger thing. So I would be personally really upset if Rain doesn't make it in the game. Even if his DLC, that would be kind of frustrating. Obviously, that's better than not being at all. I just want to see him in the main game, in the story. Another thing I should mention, it's like, yeah, maybe they don't really know what to do in the story-wise, but like, he was literally in MKX's story and he wasn't playable anyway, so it's like, I mean, some characters, like, they're not going to have big roles. Like, look at Atrocitus or Dr. Fate and Injustice 2. I mean, it's a shame because I love those characters. I wish they had a bigger role, but they were still in the game playable, so it's like, you know, not every character is going to have this concrete big role in the story, so if you know, as much as that would be a shame for Rain, I think it's certainly better than him not being in the game at all. If he was just kind of the MKX role, but this time playable. So I think that's about it. I also want to address, I apologize if I seem negative. If me or Marcoon seemed negative, I guess, during the reaction video. I, at least personally, was really impressed with the game. Like I said, I think the only kind of buzzkill was just saying that the roster was only 25 character slots. That's like the only worrisome thing, and I guess that's something else Rain kind of has going against him. That's, I feel like, a less specific thing. That could be for any character, basically. So yeah, I am really looking forward to the game. It is one of my most anticipated looking games. I'm just kind of worried with some, you know, I just don't want to wait another 4 years to maybe get a character I really want to play that missed out on MKX again. You know, really looking forward to it. I want to see how the roster is shaping up. It's off to a good start, but let's see how that goes. I'm sure, I know that for a fact there's gonna be other characters I like. Rain and Fujin are kind of the ones I'm like really like kind of gunning for, and I feel like they can kind of go either way. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Don't forget to check out my friend Marcoon in the description below, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Definitely, because this is something I want to hear other people's thoughts. Do you think he's playable? Do you think the modifier thing really, it doesn't really matter, it'll probably be changed? Or do you think the modifier thing means he's not going to be playable, he's done? You know, maybe NetherRealm Studios just doesn't like him, or they just can't think of what to do with him to evolve him further. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm definitely curious what other people want to have to say. And as I always say, another time, another place, keep being awesome.